Hey everybody, Tim and Julie here for the start of Season 3 of Batman Beyond. So Season 3, Part 1, 4 episodes, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot going down. Technically, we're almost done. There's only 2 more episodes after this. We're done with the series. Because like I said, Seasons 1 and Season 3 are both very, very short. So, for this one, we'll start from the top. Untouchable. I don't know if you ever watched it back in the 70s. One of the
John Travolta.
One of the very first John Travolta movies.
Mm-hmm.
The Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
Yeah.
I loved how you knew right where I was going. Yeah. That's what this episode was.
Yeah.
So I doubt many people have seen that. We're old.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that was long before Grease. So, anyways, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. And I don't know, Terry, was there trying, wanting to help and didn't understand why, they were in the bubbles, but yeah, it was a good episode. It brought back memories of John Travolta. Can't remember what the lady's name is. She passed away, but I can't remember.
In the original movie? Yeah, I don't remember.
Because I think they kind of had a little fling.
That's why he comes out of the bubble at the end of the movie. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah. That's legit all I got for this episode. Yeah. For all the youngsters watching this video, if you've never seen Boy in the Plastic Bubble, just go watch that movie. That's it. Okay, the next episode, Inqueling, where we see the return of Ink, and we see Ink's daughter that we didn't know about for 2 seasons. Whatever, nobody's better. And that's what do you think about Ink's daughter?
Yeah, I don't know. She was okay for a while, but then she just realized that when she was told that Ink told her that, yeah, I'm your mother, she just kind of, okay, if you say so.
You're right.
Yeah. And then towards the end, I don't know, her mother just kind of disintegrated and disappeared. Yeah.
Which, like Terry said, I mean, that's not the first time we've seen it, so.
Yeah. She'll be back.
Probably.
It was okay.
Let's see. Next is Big Time, where, throughout the series, it's been hinted at and said, Terry spent time in juvenile hall. He had a record. I mean, I forgot which episode it was, but that was one of the episodes where Dana's father didn't want her to see him because he has a record and stuff like that. And so this episode is one of the first that really kind of talks about it, where Terry was in juvenile hall for 90 days because of some sort of robbery, where Big Time, one of the kids that was also in the robbery, who was a little bit older, ended up doing 3 years. So he did 3 years, Terry did 90 days, 3 years and 3 months.
Yeah.
It's a big difference when they're only a year, maybe 2 years apart in age.
Right.
Which kind of shows you, our justice system. So, because you're 1 year older, you're going to do 3 years. Yeah, so... but this is one of the few that actually talks about Terry's past and how he's kind of reformed. And this other kid who did 3 years because he was a year older, I mean, if he had gotten the 90 days like Terry did, maybe he would have been just fine.
Right.
Did the incarceration system fail him rather than help him?
Right.
So, and I mean, that's a big thing where we could, I mean, I don't want to get too political, but we could talk about it all day long, where nowadays, pot's legal. I can walk a mile down the street and I can go buy pot at the store.
Right.
How many people are in prison because 10 years ago they had pot, and now they're in prison for X amount of years for something that is now legal. So where does the justice system work and where does the justice system not work.
Right.
I mean, and that's for people who don't even smoke pot. Like,
Right.
there's balances and systems in there. So
yeah, and now that you make stuff illegal to do, you know, the guys that are in jail, they are in prison or wherever, you know. I think if they didn't do anything else besides just having the pot, you know,
Right.
I think they need to be released back into this.
So what did you think of, like, this is one of the more political, like, statement episodes for a kids show. Like, this had a lot of weight behind it.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the character for Big Time and, like, Terry and all of that? What did you think of this one?
Well, when they met back, to, you know, at the beginning when Terry realized who it was, you know, and they were all good about it, and you know, that was good that they I don't know how to say it, how they came back together, as, you know, and reminiscing and all that stuff, and you know, and then learning a little more about why they were in there and what for. It was okay, you know, because I've never been in trouble like that, but I can't remember if it was in Girl Scouts or if it was in a school field trip. We went down to the courthouse, and then we went across the street and visited the juvenile hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and got to see what, you know, what it all entailed. You know.
That would actually be really interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Anything else for that one? Okay. And then the final episode for this group, episode 5, Out of the Past, where I love how in the beginning of the episode, Bruce is reminiscing about his old flames. He sees Zatanna, who we saw in the original series. He sees Lois Lane, Superman's girlfriend, who we saw in the Superman crossover, the World's Finest. And then Barbara, a.k.a. Batgirl, who is in this series. And then finally, the episode brings back not just Talia, but Ra's al Ghul. Once again, played by David Warner, same voice actor that played in the original series. So this is, the third classic series person that we've seen?
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze, and then Bane, and now Talia / Ra's. So what did you think of this episode?
I thought, you know, not knowing that it was Ra's, you know, and she was there helping Batman and, you know, reminiscing about their time together. And I don't know, she acted like she really cared, you know, and then when they went on the plane and went back to her hometown or wherever it was, and she gave Bruce the treatment to rejuvenate, and then he wasn't so sure about it. And then he heard Raish's voice.
Oh, yep.
And opened the door and didn't see him, and then realized that Talia wasn't Talia. She was Raish. So, yeah, it was okay. It was a good one.
So for me, out of the entire series, this is my favorite episode. Number one favorite episode. Mostly for the dialogue, because there's so many good instances. Like the opening scene where Terry takes Bruce to the musical. You can't tell, but that the musical is all of the original voice actors from the first series. Like Batman is Kevin Conroy, And like Commissioner Gordon is Bob Hastings, who was Commissioner Gordon in the series and stuff like that. And then in that same scene where he's like, come on, it took me forever to get these tickets. It's Shway. It's Schwarbage. Like, Bruce has the best lines. And I identify more and more with Bruce as I'm getting older, where he's like, okay, I'm going to dip out. And he goes to leave, and he's like, excuse me, pardon me, sorry. One side. Move! Like, he's just like, get the fuck out of the way! Like, I loved that. And then again, at the end, when they realize that Talia is Raish, and Terry's just like, wait, you're actually Raish? Ew. Or he's like, that's gross. And Bruce is like, you think that's bad? She kissed me. Like, it's just, oh, it's so good. Like, so much good dialogue.
Yeah, it was good.
So we get all of that. Just seeing Terry and the younger Bruce working side by side is fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially that first scene. It's the original theme music playing in the background. Seeing the young Bruce just kicking ass. So we get that. Like I said, seeing hearing David Warner. I love David Warner's voice. Like, it's so soothing. This is one of the great examples where, like, we watched Batman Begins, and over again in the movie Batman Begins, they say Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul did this. Ra's al Ghul did that. And then this is the perfect example where Terry's like, oh, you're Ra's al Ghul's daughter. And even Talia's like, you motherfucker. She's like, it's pronounced Raish. It's Arabic. It's a common mistake, but it's Raish. And like, I felt like that was literally just the creators. Like, oh, let's just get this over with.
Yes.
And even today, like, depending on the movie, depending on the TV show, some people say Raish, some people say Raz. But this is one of those perfect examples where they're like, it is pronounced Raish. Like, we get it. It is literally Arabic. It translates to the demon's head. It is Raish al Ghul. So, whatever. So this episode came out in 2000, early 2000. So 6 years after this episode came out is when the comic book Son of Batman was debuted, which is the origin of Damian Wayne. In this episode, 6 years earlier, that's where Raish is like, I'm going to keep using the Lazarus Pit, I'm going to be young, and then I want to tell everybody I'm the long-lost son of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul. And you're just like, ooh, look at that! So 6 years later, that's where we get Damian. So I feel like this is like a precursor. Which technically, you can go back to, oh God, 1987? There was a comic book where Bruce and Talia sleep together, and like the last page of the graphic novel is Talia holding a baby. No name, nothing. But you're like, ooh, that's their kid. But it's not until 2006 where Damian specifically is named. It's Damian Wayne. So, I mean, this was kind of like, I felt like this was like a precursor to the Damian Wayne theory or whatever.
Yeah. Well, one of the scariest scenes was, I think after Bruce left the auditorium of the show, when look, he tried to save a little girl out in the, he's dodging trucks and cars. And,
yeah.
And being as old as he is, he couldn't move quite as fast. And next thing you know, he's got the girl, he looks up, and there's a truck coming right at him. And he thinks, oh God, this is the end. And Terry, Batman, saved the day and grabbed him and took him to safety.
Which kind of shows, like, it's like you said, that's a great precursor where Bruce is like, you know, maybe I am too old for this. So, but that kind of reminds me of the episode Payback that we watched last video, where Payback's like, I'm your worst nightmare. And Bruce is like, you don't even know what my nightmares are. Like, son, please, just sit down. Because Bruce is just like, anything you got, I've seen it. So, that is a good example where Bruce is like, he like doesn't even think about it. He's just
No,
like, there's somebody in trouble,
he's gonna go
and I gotta help him.
Right.
So that is a great example. Okay. Any closing thoughts for the first part of season 3?
Yeah, there was a lot of good ones in it.
Okay. So for those who have seen it, what did you guys think of? Like I said, if you've never seen Boy in the Plastic Bubble, you're doing yourself a disservice. Go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's aged that well. Like, I don't know if kids these days would like it, but it's a good movie. Yeah. It's heartfelt. Inkling, what did you think of The Daughter of Ink? What did you think of Big Time? Like I said, we're almost done with the series, so I seriously doubt we'll see him again. And then what did you think of the return of Ra's al Ghul / Talia? What other villains do you guys want to see? Go ahead, let us know so we can talk about it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.